What's up guys, it is me, Mad Samurai 84 here for my last edition of 2023 of PS Plus Plays. We're in the month of December, we have 3 new games. All 3 of these games are about, I think, under 13-14 months old since they've been on the PlayStation ecosystem. They have been on previous systems beforehand, but just on the PlayStation side it's just been a shy over a year altogether. Yeah, very interesting. Basically, I've played through the games for a bit and I will just say what I do like, what I don't like, and at the end I will give a thumb score whether I think it's a good game, and another thumb score whether I think it's a good offering. And then when I've spoken about all 3, I'll give an overall final look at for the month of December and kind of give that overall score. Was it a good month? Was it a bad month? We've had too many poor-ish months this year. There's been quite a few too many, so hopefully this bucks the trend. So let's jump into the first game. Our first title for the month is PowerWash Simulator. This originally came out in July 2022, but that came out on Xbox. It came out on Game Pass, but it didn't come to the PS5 until January 2023. So it's under a year old. We're getting this from its release on PS5. I have to say I've been wanting to play this, since it came out, really. And I even came within within seconds of buying a physical copy over the Black Friday sales, just before I saw that this was beyond December's PS Plus, and that potentially saved my wallet a couple of pounds because it wasn't expensive. It was actually going quite cheap, and I was like just keeping an eye on it. I was like maybe saw it, and I was like, all right. But God, there are so many simulator games around now. You've got farm, police, goat, prison, parkour, bus driver, garden, lawnmower, gas station, firefighter, simulator. That's just to name a few. And I think I even saw some really rare, even more random ones. I was like, what is all this about? It's crazy. But in this game, you are basically using a power washer to clean objects in a level to gain money to buy soap attachments and upgrades to make it quicker. That's what you're doing. That's it. Each level is quite a lot. It can be quite long to complete. You could be spending well over 40 to 60 plus minutes on each one, getting in the nooks and crannies, the crevices of trying to clean everything, because you are like, oh, I've cleaned everything, and you're looking at your percentage like, oh no, I'm seeing at 98%, and then you're looking around like something, oh, I didn't clean this bit, I've got to clean that. At first, I found it a bit of fun, but as I got to about the 3rd level, I was like falling asleep. I think for a small burst of like 40 minutes, you can have, some like mind-numbing pleasure cleaning the dirt, but this is really not a game to be played in long sittings. And if you are one of those people who is, you may need to take a visit to the psychiatrist or something, because you've got to be disturbed in one way or another. You really have to. But bugs wise, I haven't really come across much, really. I've had one crash, and I haven't experienced any other major bugs, really. They're all just minimal kind of things, really. The game is quite graphically simple, yet nicely detailed in the level design, and it controls well enough, really. Maybe a slightly slow, little bit clunky. Though I did find it really annoying when you actually go into the aim mode, when you just want to see where the dirt is. If you're not paying attention, you press it and you kind of it goes all funny, oh god, that was slightly annoying. But it is hard to describe an experience with PowerWash Simulator, but that's it, really. It's rather what it says on the tin. It's a power washing simulator game. But they give you 40 plus interesting levels to clean up, with some free DLC, which I'm actually wanting to play. The Final Fantasy VII Midgard DLC looks interesting, and the Croft Mansion one looks rather interesting. These look like they'll keep you cleaning for a long time. Even the Back to the Future DLC, which is you have to pay for, even looks a bit kind of interesting. But in the end, some may find this fun, others will find it boring, and some crazy people might think it's their game of the year. But when I look at its Metacritic, for its PS5 score, it sits at a 75, and I can go, okay, I guess I can see that. People scoring it like a 7.5 maybe. If that's their bag. But when you look at the user score, it sits at 5.2. So I can go, okay, a 5 and a 7.5. I can see that. Really, people might really like it and give it a 7 because of its uniqueness and its the quirky levels. But I can also understand people want to give it a 5. Really, so I can understand both ways, really. So what does that do to my thumb score? So when I think about what should I give it as a game score, well, it's an alright game. It's a good game to be getting as a first title, I think, for a month. Really, if it was more of a higher billing on the month, then it wouldn't. I would be a bit like, but as a whole game, you're like, okay, that's actually quite good. It's one of those games where you can jump in and jump out, really. I think the nice thing is, what I didn't touch on earlier, is that you can actually save mid-level, so you can go back to that, really, and carry on. So you're not like, oh, I have to do all this in one sitting. You're like, all right, I'm going to play something else, save it, boom, off you go, which should be how it should be, because they probably realise, yeah, not some people aren't going to want to sit here for more than 20 minutes cleaning. All right, let's add a save function so people can save their progress through each level. Good idea. But I think I would give this game I'll give it a thumb in the middle. I think it's a nice enough game where you can jump in, give a good 30-40 minute experience, done with it, go back, come back a bit later and have another 30 minutes, another day, another week. But I think it's a decent thumb in the middle for me. As an offering score, what would I give it? Well, my offering score, it's from its PS5 release, it's under a year, which isn't too bad. It is something I've wanted to play, so it has saved me a penny in my pocket. So I'm going to give it a 3/4 of a thumb up, because I think it's a decent enough first billing. It is. It's a good enough opener for the month, I think. So 3/4 of a month for me. Now, our second title for December is Sable. This was originally released on the Xbox and PC in November 2021, and it wasn't until a whole year later, in November 2022, where it made its PS5 appearance. Really, another title, very delayed coming to the system, like our previous game. What do they have in common? They were both released day one onto Game Pass. Hey, all these people complaining about Sony tying up exclusive periods. Well, here we have two examples of many of those happenings on the other side, which no one says anything, really. No one says a thing. They just go, oh well. But, takes two to tango. But, I remember seeing the initial trailer for this, and I just loved the style of it straight away. I had even tried it on Game Pass when it came out on my Xbox One S. And yeah, it was super buggy with lots of frame rate issues and crashes, so I just gave up after an hour. It was that buggy. It was just a bit. I just found it such a mess. It just felt so clunky as well. It just wasn't good. It was like when I played Back for Blood on Game Pass when that came out. I played that on my Xbox One S, and I gave up after 10 minutes due to the bugs and the terrible frame rate on that. That was shocking. But, just like that, I'm kind of glad I've come back to that title
on next-gen hardware while not being free of issues, with notable pop-up throughout, frame drops and some bugs with beetles not appearing there. There has been nothing which has reminded me of the bad state of when I originally played it, so it feels a bit of a more nicer experience to be playing it. In this, you play a character called Sable, a young girl from a nomadic tribe who has to search for a mask as part of her coming of age ritual that she has to take part in. You explore vast desert regions filled with ancient ruins, interesting characters, and whatnot. But yeah, it's that really. It's nothing too overly that. The thing that really got me an issue with this game is the art style, blending like a beautiful cell shaded art style with an exquisite array of colours used to bring this desert to life. It really is wonderful to see. And with the controls, well, they're close on the borders of nice and slightly janky. Sometimes traversing is smooth, then it feels kind of some evil forces are at play and it just doesn't feel like it's connecting dots that well, but it still works and you can still play through it quite enjoyable. But what is a joy moving around is on your hover bike and watching that red tail just flow through the desert. It is just, or it is wonderful, but unfortunately you will experience a fair amount of frame drops while riding about, which is it's a big shame. Really, it is really a big shame. But while I'm only a few hours in the story, it does seem rather light in not a great way. It doesn't really explain much. I would like some more backstory on the world and the people. I'm hoping that more of this will open up as I explore more of the world, because it does seem quite interesting. So hopefully there is more context to it of like, what is this place? What has happened? Why is it like this? Is this Earth? I don't know. But this is something I do to plan to play through till the end, as the art style has got me engaged and the gameplay is satisfying enough for me to play through, so it's going to stay on my hard drive a bit longer. And when you look at its Metacritic, a bit like PowerWash Sim, it's scored a 75. Its user score is a bit higher though. It sits at a 6.6, so I can see that score as well, the 7.5 and the 6.6. I understand that. I see that, and I kind of go, yeah, I really don't have any complaints between that. Really, I can see why critics gave it like an overall 75, and I can understand why user scores are sitting at 6.6. So I think that's pretty cool. Sometimes you have to really look and go, oh God, why is that? That doesn't deserve that. But all these happen at a certain time, really, and especially after certain things have been fixed, really. And user scores aren't always done by the latest update. But anyway, what do I give for my thumb scores? Well, as a game score, I like it, really. The art style's nice, gameplay's decent. Being on the hover bike is awesome. It's a fun game, really. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it, and definitely happy to play through it. Hopefully, I'll try finish it over the Christmas period. So I'm going to give a game score of a 3/4 thumb up, because I feel like it's a decent game. As an offering score, well, this is a little bit over a year old from its PS5 release, so I think it's a very good offering, really. We've got a very competent game, really. It's beautiful, it plays nice, it's a little bit over a year old, it's not a scraping the bottom of the barrel, and I think, especially compared to previous months we've had, this is much better, really. This is how it should be. So I'm going to give a offering score of a 4 thumb up. for Sable because I think it is worth it. It's definitely worth playing through. You may like it, you may not, but I think it's definitely worth playing through it just because it looks so lovely. And if you're not into cel shaded, then you need to get your head checked because cel shaded games can look wonderful. Now, on to our last game for December, our last game for 2023, and we have been given a Lego 2K Drive. Now, when you see the game's title, the first thing that pops in your head is, what a terrible name. Then you realise it's 2K games, and they don't really have much imagination when it comes to giving a name to anything. It really isn't. But what is also interesting is this was only released in May 2023. Yeah, so it makes you think, why is that? But anyway, for me, when it comes to the title, the name, that is going to be one of the few very negatives I have to say about this game. There is some others, but so far, so good. This is one of the most enjoyable Lego game experiences I've had in quite a while. I haven't played them all, but this is a beautiful, fun game to play. Very easy and simple. You're dumped into 4 open areas. You have to get to one to the other, not all at the same time. The first one's small and they kind of get bigger as you progress. You have to do races, challenges, quests, mini games, and a ton of collectibles. A lot of collectibles. The story is basically do all the races, win the big cup, and by doing a few races in each area, that's fine. And the world things, you have to just drive around to find them, really, to find all these things. You've got to open them up. You can't open them up and they're all there, and you just plot the points. You have to really discover everything. And I'm actually kind of like going, oh god, I keep finding new stuff really as I drive around. They won't appear in your map, so it really pushes you to really explore each map. You find, you're going to find a lot of collectibles on your journey, and yeah. And some of these challenges, some are easy and some are quite challenging. Some are just annoying. Finding this rainbow cube that's up there, it's alright, I've got to get up there. Sometimes you have to wait till later because you don't have the right vehicle that's going to propel you up there to get it. So it can be annoying. This control's very arcadey, so you will be all over the place in a good way, and you can jump, boost, drift, bang Uis like there's no tomorrow. There hasn't been many crazy issues apart from standard scenery pop up and frame drops driving throughout the game. So you'll notice that quite a bit. I haven't had that many issues, say, but I have found whether it's I'm not sure it's supposed to be intentional, but it looks like some sort of frames drop in the little intro cutscenes for Rivals. Is this supposed to be some sort of slow-mo? Because it looks like frame rate issues. I'm not too sure. But then there's some strange choices, I assume, of having your characters, when you're supposed to be transporting people from one place to another, they hover 5 foot above your car. It probably depends what car you have, but it just really looks poor in a way. But it's kind of funny. You have to see it. The next thing I find super annoying is all the damn collectibles. It's crazy the amount that there are multiple different types of collectibles per map. On one you have got to get 50 rainbow bricks, 20 gold cups, 15 batteries, 15 sprockets, X amount of jetpacks, X amount of bucks, X amount of weeds on the map. It's like, it's just too much. It's just dumb. Just put more fun activities to do. Don't just fill it with just all these collectibles. It's just like, there's getting collectibles and there's getting collectibles. It's not great. Very annoying. But a great feature is in the game is the vehicle creation. It gives you the ability to create with some rails whatever you want, though it is slightly tricky maneuvering the blocks and placing them where you want them. You can unlock more pieces by recreating the vehicles you have already unlocked in your collection. It gives you a little instruction guide, and that's quite fun. That's how it kind of really teaches you how to kind of try to do things, really. And I suggest doing that, really, so you can try to get a handle of controls of how you're doing things. But if you're in the know of how to do it, it's quite interesting. But being able to share your creations and download other people's is great, as there are some really talented people out there who have made some really awesome stuff already, from what I've seen. But what I think that's a bit of a shame is they didn't really put much effort into there being like character creation, from what I can see. Giving you zero freedom in the realm of just giving you just a handful of characters to choose from. But you do unlock more as you progress, because I have unlocked a couple. I'm like, oh, okay, at least I'm unlocking more instead of having just these 5 to choose from. But in the end, this is really fun, an easy game that you can really enjoy whether you're 33 or 3. So it's not bad, but this is also riddled with microtransactions to push you to drive passes, bucks, coins, just unlock more content there, really, and that's already in the game. I would knock it down for a point, but this is just becoming like all too common theme in today's game. So you just be knocking off points off all the games, really, for bad business practice for them trying to make extra money. Really, that they all do it. They all do it now. It's hard to find games that don't do it, and the games that don't do it, well, they're special. They're very special. But to end this on a super negative, sour note, and this does knock it down a bit of a point, is just for this, it makes you have a 2K account just to play online, trying to disguise it as some sort of family friendly verification. Now, I'm not buying into it, I tell you that. A big yuck. That was quite annoying. I did it because I wanted to check out, and I played a bit of online, and it's alright. It's quite standard, just playing some races or mini games. Am I going to play it? No. If I go for a platinum, yeah, I'll do the online bit, but that's it. But when you look at its Metacritic, it doesn't have a PS4 score. Its PS5 score sits at 73. But when you look at its user scores, PS4 sits at a 3.8, and a PS5 version sits at a 5.3. Now, I didn't really look down and see much of the comments, but some of the ones I did see when I had a look there, it just said full of microtransactions for a kid's game, which I agree. Sticking all these microtransactions in kids kind of games, because that's what Lego is. It's really a kids game, because it is like that. It's Lego. Doesn't mean the adults can't play it. It's a bit because the little kids, I know what my daughter's like. She's like, oh, I want that, I want that, I want that. And if they don't know and somehow they get onto it, yeah, not good. And I can understand that, and I can understand people really getting annoyed with that whole thing with the points, with the whole microtransactions, because a lot of people don't like that. I know I've got some friends who hate games with microtransactions. Really, if there's a season pass, they're happy with a season pass, but when they put all that stuff with coins and multiple different currencies for you to use and buy, it really annoys them. And it does annoy me to a certain extent. But what do I do for my thumb scores? Well, my game score, I have to say, I've really enjoyed this game, really. I really have enjoyed this game. It has been a real little bit of fun, really. It's easy to just jump in and play it and just drive around, do some challenges, do some races, and all that stuff. Give a go on the creation, even though I suck at it. I'm very enjoying it. I would have given this a full thumb up because I am enjoying it. It is like a nice, like high 7, 8 out of 10 for me. But because of that whole 2K account thing, just to play online, I am going to dock it a slight point. So I'm going to give this a 3/4 of a thumb up for me, really. I would knock it another down point for the microtransactions, but it is what it is now. It is what it is. Really, some people are right, like, because there was the whole thing of loot boxes, and then some people are like, I prefer loot boxes to microtransactions, and it's just like you can't win either way. You know, all these companies are trying to make these bits of money, trying to sell you something somewhere, trying to make as much money off you as possible. But I get it. I get why people don't like it. I get why people are not bothered by it. But I'm going to stick with a 3/4 thumb up for this game. As an offering score, well, this only came out in May of this year, so it's like 7 months old, really. Has this not sold well? I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I remember seeing when it came out, like seeing the box arts and stuff and in the store, but has it sold well? I don't know. I have no clue. So I think we've got a pretty good bargain here, really, getting a game that's only like 7 months old on PS Plus. So for me, it's a full thumb up score for Lego 2K Drive. I should really knock off a point for that for the game's title, but that's just being a bit too petty. But yeah, a full thumb up for the offering score. Definitely a good-ish cap to the month, really. A good cap to the end of the year. And you know what? This is actually, if you really think about it, it's an alright month. It's just much better than others. And this is kind of like one of the best, like, kind of leading games we've had for a little bit. But yeah, Lego 2K Drive, definitely worth it. Game score, 3/4 thumb up. Offering score, a full thumb up. Now I've played through all the games, I've given my scores, I've said what I didn't like, what I did like. Now let's look at overall for December 2023. How was PS Plus? How were the games? Well, we started off with PowerWash Simulator. It's an alright game, especially on short sittings, really. For me, I gave that a game score as a thumb in the middle and an offering score of a 3/4 thumb up because it's under a year old from its PS5 release, so why not? Our second title was Sable, and it's a lovely little cel-shaded game. Definitely something I've kind of been enjoying. Not the greatest, but you know what? It's quite fun. Been going around solving the puzzles, this and that. Very simple but beautiful to look at. I gave that a game score of a 3/4 thumb up and an offering score of a full thumb up because it was just a little bit over a year from its PS5 release date, so I think that was pretty good. And then to cap off the month, we had the terribly named Lego 2K Drive, and you know what a fun little Lego game. It has its certain issues with the making of the 2K account, or tons of microtransactions. Even though they're not shoved in your face, they are there. Some little kind of performance issues, but nothing too much. I gave that a game score of a 3/4 thumb up and an offering score of a full thumb up, as it's only been out for 7 months. Now, what do we do overall for December? What do we do? Well, I think overall we've got a pretty good month of games. Really, you really can't complain. They are decent. Not the best games in the world. I'm not going to say it, but I think a real decent run of like 7s out of 10. Really, I think it's a really good. Some people may think they're lower, some people may think they're higher, but I think overall game quality is pretty good. So I'm going to give an overall game score for December as a 3/4 thumb up. Now, as an overall offering score for the month, what would I give? Well, overall, the oldest game we've got from release on the PlayStation system is about 13 months. Really, everything is under, so it's technically like, from what I'm gonna think, it's like one of the younger, like, I don't think we've had all the games that have come out like under that amount of time before that I can recollect. Really, we haven't had games where all the games have kind of basically been well, basically a year old onto the system before we've got them all. So it's pretty good, you know. Ones like, 12 months, 11 months old with PowerWash Sim, Sable, 13 months. It came out November last year, and then with Lego 2K Drive, that's like 7 months since it released. So pretty damn good, really, and they're all like basically half decent, pretty good games. So I think as a offering score for the month, I think I've got to go with a full thumb up. Really, it's a decent month, and it's probably one of the best months we've had, really, because it's not been a good year for PS Plus. We've got a lot of mid games, lower kind of quality games, really, and there's been some that have been a bit better, but it hasn't been great. It hasn't been excellent. It has been rather disappointing. But this has made things a little bit better. So, an overall score for January, oh, not January, I'm getting ahead of myself. Overall score for December 2023 is a game score of a 3/4 thumb up, and an overall offering score for December is a full thumb up. So, I think that is pretty good for December. I have to give a little round of applause and say, oh, at least we didn't end on a super sour note for the year, because that would have been terrible. Hopefully next year will be much better. That's all I've got to say in the matter. But anyway, that is it. PS Plus Plays is done for 2023. What did you think of December's games? Let me know in the comments. Did you think they sucked? Did you think they were great? What do you hope for the new year? Do you think we had a good year? Was 2023 a good year? I will be checking. But anyway, please like and subscribe to the channel. That will be great. Enjoy your holidays, and wherever you are in the world, whether you celebrate it or not, Merry Christmas. And until next time, guys, take care and look after yourselves. Bye.